Like my plans included.
Hi,
Hey
everyone.
hey guys, welcome back to another
Welcome.
episode of the Relationship Corner with myself, Nereyda, and
And Sarah.
yes, how are you, Sarah?
All
We were here.
vibrant and red and orange right now and yellow.
Yeah, I love it. We were just talking about yellow.
Yes, yellow. We were just talking about how we're matching yellow today, and yellow is a very high vibrational color. It's very positive and just, it brings in happiness
It,
and all the
yeah,
good energies. I'm all about good energies.
yes.
So, me and Nereyda, without even realizing, we were connecting with yellow today. So, how awesome is that?
Yes, I'm gonna look it up even more later. Yellow
Yeah,
reminds me of the sunflower, like seeking
sunflowers.
truth, just
I'm growing sunflowers in my yard, real sunflowers.
oh,
So,
that's gonna
yeah,
look so nice in the
specifically for
summer.
that. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
sunflowers are very happy.
Yeah, they are. Totally are.
Yes.
So for
So,
today,
what were we going to talk about today?
yeah, so today's topic, we have it on here too. We're going to be talking about relationships and where we give our power away to people, situations, etc., and just exploring like how do we take our power back,
Mm-hmm.
right? So I
Right.
know I had guests on my podcast and we were talking about a little bit about how we give our power away and more specifically like women to men, but it's
Yeah.
so true. We also do it with like friendships and with
Mhm.
work, and especially maybe like in this role of like being a caretaker. I think intuitively of like wanting to help and nurture, I think there's like so many ways where we just keep giving it away
Mhm.
without even realizing how it could be hurting us or draining
Mhm.
us,
Yeah.
you know?
Yes, I was definitely that person that did that in my past. It's taking me a long time to get past that, and I've done a lot of inner thoughts and healing. And why did I do that? And I think that was one of the things
Uh,
that I think helps people is recognizing when we do it, because
okay.
we're not perfect and we can't just say, oh, well, it's this person's fault, or
Yeah,
this person's
correct.
controlling, or this person has this, they're narcissistic, or whatever the words people use.
Yeah.
We have to look at ourselves and go, well, how am I contributing to the issues that are happening within me?
Yeah.
And so that's not knowing who you are.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
really feel like it
Yeah.
comes down to that. And I had to do a lot of soul searching, a lot of when I say soul searching, I mean like sit down with myself and go, who am I? Who
Yeah.
is Sarah?
Okay.
What do I like? What do I not like? What kind of things make me sparkle? What kind of things dull
Yeah.
me down, and staying true to that and recognizing that the people that I want in my life are going to be people that are receptive to who I am, not me mold to somebody else, because then I'm not being authentic to me, right?
Yeah. Well, even to add to that too, right? Like, I think it also goes into the space of we give our power away when we are in the space of looking for something outside of ourselves.
Right.
Like, I
Yes.
think it's still that validation or that like love or whatever it is, right? Because even interesting enough, like I totally I've been in those spaces where I've given my power away. But it's so interesting because it's happened recently where there was like a week where I was in this space and it just dawned on me like, hold the fuck up. Like, what am I doing? Like, I'm giving my power away. Like, I know who I am. But it's like
Hmm.
in that bits of a week or whatever, I wasn't aware of how I was looking for it outside of myself.
Yeah.
So it's interesting too because it's like, oh, we can work on ourselves. And sometimes when shit hits the fan or when something happens, we can revert back to like old patterns. And it's like even being aware of, okay, hold on, I'm giving my power away.
Right. Yeah.
You
Yes.
know?
Yeah. Because you're looking outside, but the people that you're doing it for, they're not for your best interest. They're for their own interest. So, maybe in that moment you give your power away, but what are you getting in return? You get the yucky feeling and it's not doing
No, there's
anything
like a
positive for you.
yeah, I was gonna say, like, for anybody who's going through it, it's like and of course, like, we've been through it too before with, like, past relationships or in our previous whatever, where it's like or jobs or friendships where it's like there's a lot of anxiety,
Yeah.
right? Like, that's one of the things that I was remembering because I think in previous times, I don't know if I was fully aware of what it was, or I don't know if I had the terminology for it. In this time, it was very interesting because I was able to label it like, "Oh, there's intense anxiety." Like, "Oh, there's intense, like, inner turmoil." Right? Like, "Oh, this is, like, what it is when somebody gives their power away." And same
Right.
thing with, like, friendships, right? Like, in work, it's like you want, like, the perfect work or the perfect friendship, and you're walking on eggshells, and you're giving the power away. You're giving
Mhm.
your power away.
Yeah.
You're waiting for them, waiting for the job or the manager to say something to you that's validating, right?
Yeah. But
Yeah.
it's chipping away at you. And so how do you get it back? It's the core problem is you might know who you are. I have to sneeze.
Um,
Hang on.
bless you.
Excuse me. Uh, you might know who you are, um, but just really pulling out the true like you and go like no, like learning how to say no, but like you could give and take a little bit. So you're not giving all of it. You're not doing all or none. There's that balance, there's that fine line. So, I mean, I know like if you're like a caretaker, you have to, that's your job or that's what you're doing. You have to, but you don't need the validation from anybody. And it's people that don't have that self-worth or really know who they are. But that's when you're losing that balance, you're losing that foundational, so
Yeah,
really knowing what you want out of life, like for me, I'm like, I'm going about my life, I'm not trying to hurt anybody or piss anybody off, but this
yeah,
one particular person just cannot seem to be okay with me, and I'm always wrong all the time, and I keep
mhm,
molding to that person's whatever it is that they want me to
yeah,
do, and it's hurting me for
yeah.
them to be happy, but they're really not happy. No one's really happy, so
I
I
think
had to learn to say no.
yeah, yeah. I've been in friendships like that before where I always felt that there was something that I was doing wrong, and it was
Yeah,
always like, "Oh, like, I observed this about you." And then it started dawning on me like, "Oh, like, why do I feel that, like, I'm always a work in progress and it's always draining? And why
yeah,
does this not happen with, like, other friendships?" But I think
right.
what I started doing, like, I don't think I was very good at, like, speaking up at the time, like, I don't again, like, maybe I didn't have, like, the terminology for it, or even the times when I actually did speak up, like, once or twice, and it became like, "Oh, like, you think the world revolves around you, like, it doesn't." And I'm like,
Mhm.
"Okay, so okay," like, again, like, it's invalidating my own feelings, right? So then I didn't say anything, but instead, I think I was starting to be, like, passive, right?
Yeah,
Like, that type of indirect communication, but
mhm.
eventually it just led me to, like, not wanna have a friendship anymore.
Yeah.
You know? But
Yeah,
again,
it's
it's
not
like
healthy.
even in those moments, like, I wasn't aware that, like, me not speaking up or me not saying no or me not, like, saying, "Actually, like, we're not gonna have a conversation about this today," was me giving my power away,
Mhm.
right? And I think when I reflect back to, like, maybe, like, those times in my life, it's like, "Oh, I didn't know what I brought to the table." Like, I was still very afraid of being in a space of, "Okay, like, maybe I bring these 2 things to the table, but I wanna sit in this table, and I'm afraid that everybody's gonna get up and leave."
Right.
You know, and now it's very different because now it's like, "Oh, I know what I bring to the table, and I'm not afraid of people just don't jive with what I'm offering." Like, maybe we just don't belong on the same table, and that's
And
okay.
that's okay. Yeah. And that's just, we're all we're all on different just because someone's not on your same wavelength doesn't mean that they're a bad person, right?
No,
So it just
exactly.
means
Yeah.
we're just not on the same wavelength, they're on the same mental state. So you just surround yourself with people that are more like-minded, and those are the people that are going to uplift you, and that's going to be more of that, I guess, reassurance that someone needs, knowing that they're surrounding themselves with the same people as you, right? That
Yeah.
think the same, that feel the same, that are there to uplift when you're in a bad place, because we all get into bad places and we need those people to
Yeah.
accept you, that we're not all perfect and it's okay. And I have your back, you have my back, So it's surrounding yourself with the people that are like you. And how do you find those people? You find them by knowing you. You have to know who you are.
I was gonna
And
ask, like, when you were going through those spaces, like, what is it that brought you back to you? Or maybe where
hey,
you
hey, hey, you guys quiet. I'm on a webinar. What's that?
I love how she came in like, "Hey,
I
hey."
know.
That's awesome. Hey.
Um,
I was gonna
what was
ask
the question?
you,
I'm sorry.
yeah, like what did you do? Like what tools did you use to uncover maybe like your strengths or those parts of you where you were very solid of like, I know what I bring to the table?
So a lot of that was just growth within myself. So I had to go through experiences. I had to go through basically being treated like shit. And
Okay.
unfortunately for me, I I was not that power girl early on in my life. I never was. I kind of laugh at myself because me now, very outgoing, very just, hey, like that was never me early on. I was that girl that like hid behind my mom's legs, like the shy one, when I was
Okay.
little. Very
Yeah.
shy, very okay, whatever you say, that kind of. And it's taken me people treating me with disrespect for me to realize I don't like the way this is making me feel, and
Okay.
recognizing the feeling, the negative feeling.
Okay.
So, and then learning when you have a positive feeling, you know what negative feeling feels like. If you're always
Mhm.
around negative, you don't really know what positive feels like. So, I've experienced positive. I know what negative feels like. So, what is it that I feel good around? I feel good around positive. I want to be around positivity.
Yeah.
And
You were able
I
to
had to learn to like myself.
okay. You were able to
So,
like distinguish the difference between both.
right. When you, yes, yes. It's like yin and yang, right? Like black and white. You can't have one without the other.
Yeah.
So I've learned about positivity. I knew what positivity was and I knew what negativity was. I knew when people treated me bad and how that made me feel. And then I
Okay.
was around people that made me feel really good. And so I was like, how do I get more of that? I
Yeah.
had to really learn about myself to surround myself with that. So really it took me being treated really bad or very disrespected or making me feel like just like that narcissistic type behaviors that people might have around you that they make you feel like you're going crazy. You're like, like, what am I
Yeah.
doing? Like, I'm not doing anything wrong. Like everything, like they're always pointing the finger at you and all that. I don't want to be around that. That's too draining.
Yeah. That's a really good
Yeah,
point. Yeah. Yeah. That's a really good
right.
point. Yeah. Because I
So
think there's like a
yeah,
balance too, right? Because in when I've been in relationships or friendships and it's like that, it always felt I think for me it was like the opposite growing up. It feels like I was always the one like not the I've never been the one to be like hiding behind my mom. Like
yeah,
when I was a kid, I knew who I was very good. And I was always like outgoing. I was never afraid to like speak up. And I think as I entered like adulthood and maybe that educational, like going to college journey, it became like, oh, I have to mold myself. Like I have to be quieter and I have to be like respectful. And I remember dyeing my hair bright red, like McDonald's red, right? In
like
college.
me.
Yeah, it was a little bit, like, brighter, yeah, and I remember, like, dyeing it back to black because it was like, "Oh, I'm in this field now, like, I have to be presentable," right?
Hmm.
So I think that's how for me, like, it started to give my power away, right?
Hmm.
Oh, I had a point with this because it reminded me what you were saying, but, um, darn, darn. It was something about, like, friendships and relationships, how, oh, yeah, there's, like, a balance, I think, right? Where friendships could probably tell you like, "Oh, hey, like this is bothering me," or "This is something that I've noticed." But I think it all goes back to like that openness, like non-judgmental space. Because if
Yeah.
they're like only pointing fingers at you, then it becomes like what you're saying, very draining, right? Because I don't think I ever knew the difference when I was like in college and stuff. So I just took it as, okay, they're pointing the fingers, like obviously I must be doing something wrong. Like they're sharing their truth and their truth is like absolute. And it's not until, like, after and whatever then, like, my other stuff that I'd gone through where it's like, "Oh, hold on," like, everybody has, like, their own personal truth.
Yeah.
And it's the space of, "Okay, I'm gonna hear what you have to say, but I'm gonna sit with it for a little bit and see if it resonates or not."
Yes.
Like
Yeah, that's perfect. I've done that too. That's actually perfect because I've been doing that lately because I don't want anybody to put me down or make me feel like my feelings or how I think is not valid. So
yeah,
yeah, I've started doing that as well. Like, okay, well, I need a minute or not responding right away, because it's not like they're wrong. I don't want to be that person that's doing that to them either.
exactly. Yeah.
So it's just feeling like you're validating people, and that's what it is. What you put out, you get back. You attract the same types of people. When you're putting that energy out, you're going to attract the same types of people with that same energy. Yeah, that makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Sweet. I know we're gonna end up here in a little bit. So yeah, like if you guys are watching, like even during or after, definitely feel free to share. Hey Angie.
Hi, Angie. I hit join chat, but it's not letting me type. So hi, Angie. I'm
Yeah,
acknowledging
that's
you.
okay. Yeah, but yeah, do you guys have any questions about this? I know it's a very interesting conversation, right? Like giving our power away and how do we get it back?
Right. Yeah. Because I mean, and it happens all the time. And it's not like you're a bad person or the other person's bad. I think it's just communication as well, and knowing how everyone communicates differently, and the way that they're doing it isn't necessarily wrong. It's just they're not driving on the same wavelength as you. So
Yeah.
being able to accept that and realize that it's okay, like it's all good. Just maybe take a step back and think about things so we can all be on the same page.
Yes.
So,
Yeah.
but yeah.
Sweet. Yeah. Okay. Well,
Okay.
I know it's hitting 2:30, so
Yeah,
join
2:30.
us for not next Tuesday, but the Tuesday after that.
After that, yes, we will
Yeah.
be here with a new topic. And if anybody wants to say anything later, we will be available to chat.
Yeah. Awesome. It was nice seeing you, Sarah.
All right. You too. I'll talk to you soon.
Okay.
Bye.
Yellow. Bye.
Bye.
And the dismissal of white women.
Okay, we are out.
Take what Rebecca was